Well, if I wasn't stung before, I am now. Oh, it wants this and all.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
What about my one?
Well, it's tough titter.
You know what I say?
What?
Ow.
Of course. Yup. Have you route me lead? I'd need one of them jokers. The Dumb Steeple. There's a number of theories about what it actually is because there's no inscription on it. Some believe that it's a boundary marker and it splits the Kirklees Priory, Brighouse, Mirfield and Huddersfield. Theory number 2 is people think that it is a corruption of doomed steeple. And people that were doomed are fugitives of the law. They used to be able to seek sanctuary at the monasteries. Now, not all monasteries were allowed to house fugitives, and some people don't believe that that theory is true, but it's unknown. Theory number 3, guys, that the Dumb Steeple has something to do with ancient phallus worship. We are stood here in the car park of the Miller and Carter Steakhouse. This pub used to be called the Three Nuns Inn. And the reason it's called the Three Nuns is at Kirklees Priory, very close to here, there was a nunnery, and it was a Cistercian nunnery. The nuns that were based at Kirklees Priory, a lot of them happened to be the illegitimate children of some of the gentry that lived in and around the Huddersfield area. And so they had no conviction to follow the way and the life of a nun. They were known to frequent dance halls, go out drinking, and also entertain gentlemen. In 1300, Pope Boniface VIII published a papal bull and forbid such behaviours. When those words came to the Kirklees Priory estate, the papal bull was rejected, and actually the people who came with that note were forced off the church ground, off the priory grounds, beg your pardon. Alistair Raggy was found to be guilty of bringing back said gentleman. And then later on, 2 more nuns, friends of Alice, Elizabeth de Hopton and Joan de Hetton, were also found to be entertaining the gentleman. Another famous nun, Catherine Grice, who is believed to be related to Robin Hood, who is said to also be buried in the Kirklees Priory, is known to have possibly bled Robin Hood to death. This nunnery was closed down in 1539 following Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries. It is now a private estate. I cannot take you there. So maybe on another day. They do open it twice a year, but it's kind of an invitation thing and you've got to be here at the right time. I'm never here. In the modern day, guys, neo-Luddism are people that are against technological advancement. They weren't necessarily against technological advancement. They were against it because of the social change that it brought about for their families and their loved ones. They apprenticed for 7 years. So you can imagine apprenticing for 7 years in a profession for maybe 10, 15, and then your job is changed overnight because the shear frame, as they knew it, did the job of a cropper or a number of croppers at a fraction of the cost and possibly 10 times the speed. The croppers themselves argued that it wasn't to their standard, but then they would do, wouldn't they? And that's why they rebelled. That's why they attacked the mill owners and these shear frames, because it was taking their jobs. Somewhere around here, guys, is the manor house of the man that built the Kirklees Priory, that Renoir de Fleming, in the 1200s. Now whether that house still stands, I don't know, but it was somewhere around here. Could it be that house? I very much doubt it, but could be. That may be his house, just maybe.
Come cropper lads of high renown, who love to drink strong ale that's brown, and strike each haughty tyrant down with hatchet, pike and gun. The cropper lads for me, and gallant lads they be, with a lusty stroke the sheer frames broke, the cropper lads for me. What though the specials still advance, and soldiers nightly round us prance, the cropper lads still lead the dance with hatchet, pike and gun.
The Luddites were led by the enigmatic Ned Ludd. Funnily enough, no one knows if he was actually a real person. Some people have tried to link him to a guy called Edward Ludlam from the Midlands, from Nottingham way, whereas others believe it was just a pseudonym, a fable, a character. Not a real person, just something to throw off the authorities. Either way, it worked for long enough. Who's been a naughty boy then? Guys, this chapel is thought to date from as early as 1120. Originally a Saxon chapel, overtaken by the Normans and extensively remodelled around 1880. this yew tree, guys, is said to be the last tree that Robin Hood cut down himself, and he cut his last arrows from this very tree. Okay. Also, regarding Robin Hood, it's said that his gravestone may lie in this church, contrary to others that believe that his grave is actually on Kirklees Priory. So this very tree has a story in itself attached to Robin Hood. Guys, Patrick Bronte, father of Emily and Charlotte Bronte and Anne, was curate and incumbent here at Hartshead Chapel during the Luddite rebellion. Now, it's believed that even though he was against the Luddite movement, that he allowed Luddites to be buried in this cemetery. But as you can see, it's a little overgrown, and I'm guessing somewhere in there we have interred bodies of Luddites, but I don't think I'm going to try even get in there. Hey up, what's this? Rama and Hartshead Common. There you go, that's the dreaded shear frame. And there's the Luddite carrying the old Enoch sledgehammer. For those who know nothing about the Luddites, they would smash shear frames to pieces with a large sledgehammer called the Enoch, or the Great Enoch sledgehammer. What's ironic is the person locally who manufactured the shear frame was Enoch and James Taylor themselves. They manufactured the hammers and they manufactured the shear frames. So a Luddite saying was, Enoch made them and Enoch will break them. I'm going to have to consult the notes, guys, but here on the outskirts of Hightown, so it's a Quaker graveyard. It dates back to around the mid to late 1600s. The Quaker community here used to travel to nearby schools to do their religious worship. But in the 18th century, Quaker decline meant that the decline in numbers meant that they had to travel not to schools but to Brighouse. But later, in the 1800s, the Victoria Institute was initiated by a guy called Robert Firth Crossland, and the Institute became a community hub for the Quakers. What is quite noteworthy is these Luddites, you know, they aren't just absolute rebels. It's not like they didn't try other things prior, and they did petition government, and they did try to get rules installed about slowing the different ways of methods of manufacturing cloth so that they were able to retrain and they were able to still work and there were better conditions and such. But you know, as we know, governments, they can fail, and they failed the Luddites hugely. Yeah, that away. Oh, why? Check this out. This is the section that we're coming to now. Can they keep a secret? On Saturday the 11th of April 1812, the Luddites set out over the moors and set about their plan of a rebellion. Having attacked many mills in the neighbourhood, they headed to Rawfolds Mill. It was George Miller that led the attack. So as we said, at spot one, they met at the Dumb Steeple and headed over the moors. They were supposed to be meeting more Luddites from Halifax, but they didn't turn up. Took the decision to head over to Rawfolds Mill anyway. Cartwright owned Rawfolds Mill at the time, and he had set up barricades and had a military contingent set up there. and the Luddites' attack failed ultimately, and there were a number of casualties as a result, most namely Samuel Hartley and John Booth. When Cartwright finally stumbled upon the two victims outside of his mill, he asked for them to be taken by his military men to the yew tree inn close by. But Luddite sympathisers gathered outside of the yew tree, and it was decided that they would be taken here to the Star Inn. Legends say that they were interrogated to such a degree, some may call it abuse or torture, so to try and get them to tell of names of other Luddites, but obviously they had taken the Luddite oath. Samuel Hartley first succumbed to his injuries at 6 a.m. A musket ball had gone through the left side of his chest and inflicted wounds upon his heart. Hartley is believed to have kept his Luddite oath. A day later, John Booth, whose legs had been smashed to smithereens and had had them amputated, also succumbed to his wounds, but before he did so, he asked for the Reverend Hammond Robertson to come to the pub. He beckoned the Reverend over, and it was as he was slipping away that he asked the Reverend to come over and asked him, "Can you keep a secret?" Hammond Robertson thought that he was going to tell of other Luddites, and just as he slipped away, it is believed that John Booth said, "Well, yes, so can I." Robert style. In style. This looks like it's old stone, doesn't it? Oh, how many nettle stings have you got?
Oh, multiple.
Just got a few more there. Hang on. It makes you walk in the nettles. Look at this.
Putting you down there?
Look, it wants us down here, look.
I shan't be going down there as an alternative.
Nope. We're going.
Oh my word. Nipples up your crap.
Oh no. This is why I need to keep rolling now. We'll get some good footage now.
How ridiculous these crabs are.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. About to get stung. If I wasn't stung before, I am now.
Oh my god.
Oh. Oh. Oh, just stop it.
Can't even walk. I'm lifted out. Running my legs up that.
Oh. It wants this and all.
No, it don't.
It does.
What about what I want?
Well, it's tough titter.
You know what I say?
What?
Ow.
Yeah. Hey up. Hey up. Says we're off course, we might want to go down there.
Right.
Oh yeah. We could have avoided them nettle stings, but it wouldn't have been half as fun, would it?
The silence is deafening.
Hey up. Have you brought me lead? I'd need one of them chokers. little spot is like one of the highlights of this walk. Absolutely brilliant. I'll show you around. So there we have it, guys. That's the end of the first part of So there we have it, guys. That's the first part of the Luddite Trail complete. Damn you, main road! These shear frames coming over here, taking our jobs. Theory number 3, guys, is written by a guy So these guys that got taken back by these nuns, you know what they were saying, don't you? Oh, what a night! Taken back, lady in black and white. What a lady of the night. Theory number 3, guys. The Dumb Steeple has something to do with ancient phallus worship. In 1300, Pope Boniface VIII sent... Oh, that's staying in though. It's alright, just try to do a video here, you know. Got any more penis jokes?
Not right now, no.
In 1315, the most famous of these 3 nuns, Alistair Ragged, was found to be guilty of